Hey, this is PoeticWhiz. I'm going to talk about iOS 26. Before we cover the iOS 26, here's what I wish to tell you. It's been a while since I uploaded, and it feels great to be uploading again and yapping. I feel I really want to yap about iOS 26 and how I feel about it. So as I was telling, before I go ahead and tell you anything further about iOS 26, my thoughts, my opinion, my perspective around iOS 26, here's what I have to tell you. Apple has consolidated everything into one OS, uniform OS. From moving on, we are only going to have Watch OS, iPad OS, Mac OS, TV OS, Vision OS, all considered into 26 year-wise. I know we are living in 2025, but Apple has decided not to mention 25, rather go with 26. That's a nice move either way, if you ask me. And I somewhere feel this would be same applied to the upcoming iPhone as well. I know we are telling it iPhone 17, but there could be a chance Apple will go iPhone 26 or whatever. Like something what Samsung does, basically. My initial impression of iOS 26 overall felt like something Apple thought might do it, but I never thought Apple might do it. Okay, I know it sounds a bit twisted in whatever I just now said, but here's what I want to tell you all. As a designer, as a content creator, as someone who understands the design perspective and how things are moving, evolving over the year later, in decades or over a 5-year span, and how we have tech has evolved over the years from device hardware and software. If you ask me personally, we started off with Skeuomorphic design where everything looked more realistic, more visually appealing, where every element of the Apple ecosystem, let it be the iPad, let it be the iPhone, anything, whatever you used previously back in 2007 when when Steve Jobs, Apple, everything had come into, where there was a leap of tech, the inception of tech, I would say, because I clearly remember 2007 might be the year of how Apple started, but for me, if you ask me, 2011 was the year where tech took its inception, birth, or it started off its beginning journey. And Apple started with minimal yet moved to Skeuomorphic. Like we have moved, like this is how I would put the Apple software. You first started off with schemorphism, flat design, and now back to liquid glass. And if the three phases of Apple revamped design, if you ask me, Skeuomorphic still holds a special place in my heart. How realistic the OS and the hardware combined felt. Like from user experience, UI, everything, it felt very realistic. It felt almost like you were doing something with your device rather than feeling like, okay, this is just a digital version of something. Like as someone who loves to read books, novels, everything, or write, I feel that Skeuomorphic had that emotional attachment, whereas now the present flat design everything doesn't have much. You only have a digital presence of it. So when Apple released the, as they call it, liquid glass, some call it foster glass or whatever. For me, I would not say it is a bold move by Apple, but I would at least say that someone who has seen lately the design trends, like we have gone from minimalism look to foster glass look or any sort of glass look, I feel Apple somewhere did not know what to do, revamp or how to revamp, but they thought, okay, let us stick to something which everyone is hooking up to or having an emotional attachment. I would not say emotional attachment, it's just I'm putting it that way, that the glass thing feels great in Apple's perspective. They've gone a bit ahead in whatever they have to do, but in my regard, where the liquid glass effect lacks or it feels like down, I would say is the readability. As a designer, readability is more important than the visual aspect of the design. If you cannot read what is mentioned in the text format, or what is in the background, foreground, or whatever, you will not know what the design is trying to convey. At times, you do not need a text. Visual is more than enough to tell you, okay, this is XYZ, this is what the poster is trying to say, the movie poster is trying to say, or normal poster or advertisement, anything is trying to say. But when there is a text, you have the ability to know, okay, this is what the poster is trying to say, or movie is trying to say, or book is trying to convey you. But the message what with liquid glass is, the readability is not there. That was the first concern with me when I saw the liquid glass, like when Apple revealed it. I was like, everything feels great, but the readability is not at par. If you personally ask me if the first glass look or whatever, a bit more blurred or whatever, I just show the image what I'm trying to explain. If they had a bit more readability in terms of the glass look, I would feel it would be still a better update. I mean, overall, basically. The visual changes are something I really liked in the iOS 26. Overall, it's really great. I know Apple might be criticized for its readability and everything, but there's one thing they did it, I would say, somewhat right. It's not great, but at the same time they have adapted the blurriness, adapted the visual enhancement. When I try to explain you, it's like where a black background and a white background, when you try to move between these two background colors, the way it tried to adapt with the liquid glass, something amazing, I would say. And yeah, before I forget, I know I don't talk about cameras and other things, but one thing I can tell you, if there's something I personally love with iOS 26, is the camera overhaul redesign. I mean, that is the best thing Apple had done. Well, the camera overhaul is something that I feel was a must-have. And the best tweak Apple have done, the best refinement, I would say, having everything consolidated in one hood. I mean, previously we need to have to, I'm not too sure, but this is just my perspective, that previously we need to toggle, if you need to toggle between 4K, 6K or whatever, or 30 FPS, 60 FPS, we need to have to go to under the settings to do that. But now, with a redesigned camera overhaul with iOS 26, everything can be done under the hood in the camera app, and we don't need to go to under the settings to make these changes, whatever I have mentioned so far. And the visual overall camera is great. I know it would take time for users to get used to it with the new redesign, but I feel it's far better. And yeah, thank God Apple has gone back to the Photos app, redesigned to something what we love, than personally what they have personally messed up on the current iOS 18 version. As for this quote-unquote liquid glass or whatever, this new default or what Apple is trying to promote, basically, this is something I have to personally see and know if do I like that as default home screen or whatever layout, basically. If so, I could see myself using it. If not, as someone you already know, I prefer dark mode in everything, just like this. As you all know, I prefer dark mode on my phone, mainly due to my eyesight, but apart from that, I personally prefer dark mode. And lately I've come to realize that I've not used it. As far as I remember, I've not used it, but the new dark mode that is available in iOS 18, I've come to appreciate it, I've come to love it. But there's one thing I can personally tell from my point of view, is that the color shift or the color tint, whatever we currently have on the iOS 18, if that is something I feel are much more improved or refined in iOS 26. That's what I personally feel. I have yet to give it a try to let you know how I feel about it. But yes, under the hood, the minor improvements, everything whatever Apple has done is great. And I know some would be saying pixel features Apple has copied. Yes, here, Apple, Samsung, any other brand, they always try to catch up with the feature wise. But here's something I personally admire Apple for. I know I personally admire Samsung for this first, then Apple. But anyways, we have now call recording on iPhone. We have transcription on iPhone. We have what do you say? Live translation basically, and that's something I really love. As for someone who can speak multiple languages or someone who able to understand a language but still not fluent enough. Mi hombre, tus, mi gusto manzanas. So yeah, this live translation or anything like, as someone who can understand to speak Spanish or I'm someone who's multilingual. But anyways, so what I was really trying to tell you all of this readily available live translation is readily available across your phones or FaceTime, and I feel even third-party apps should implement it. And I really like. And then one more thing, I feel I'm not sure if this is I'm not too sure if this is a Pixel feature, but Google Pixel feature. But I do like that Apple has implemented this while someone is putting a call on hold. We usually have to be online thinking when will the person come, this, that. Apple has removed all the hurdles, the obstacles, everything. Like now you will get a notification saying that okay, a concerned person is on the line, you can connect with them. There's one more thing I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure how this will work in the real life, but Apple has shown us like instead of we answering unknown calls or anything, we can have a text message. So I did try this eventually on my Samsung phone. This where if somebody had called me from an unknown number or somebody I know who's calling me, I did try this text feature. It was not too accurate, I would say, but if it is accurate not just in multiple languages as well in English, I feel this could be a godsend or something, a feature where I could see myself personally using. I personally am someone who do not likes to call people, not to call people, basically I don't like to be on a call for very too long, like 10-20 minutes long. I cannot. So text has always been my go-to option. I always prefer, and if that implementation is being done right with whatever this feature is, it would be great. I know I myself got an overall as well where now you can change the background, personalize your theme, chat, however you want and all. Those are minor changes, but those changes are nothing, what do you say, nothing something I would consider myself using or seeing to it as an upgrade, but it's nice to have. There's one more thing I really want to tell you. Now you have phone app basically available on Mac OS and iPad OS, and that's great if you ask me, but I still don't know how great of a feature this would be or its presence would be. But the only thing I could see this phone app being useful is for someone who's in the Apple ecosystem and someone like me who's not in the Apple ecosystem. What I mean to say is like someone having a Mac and an iPhone, or Mac or an iPad, or vice versa, whatever, any way you go it, I don't feel that connectivity would be as good as how something like continuity is there. Let me put it this way. When Apple had initially released this feature where you get a call, you don't have your iPhone nearby, but you could pick up that same call on your iPad or Mac. That continuity I still prefer over the that sort of continuity is something I personally prefer and I really like. There's one more update I personally love from iOS 26, which we can see in iPad OS and Mac OS as well. That's the Files app. I feel Files app this year has gotten a major upgrade or best overall I feel. I know I'm not someone who would like to color my folders or rename my folder or try to use these features on a day-to-day basis, but there's something, the whole level of customization on the file that is something great I feel with iOS 26 is something I personally love. And the one feature I personally love as a content creator myself who has edited videos on Luma Fusion, the ability to now like how do you say tell you, like export my video in the background or transfer my files, copy, cut, paste or whatever. This all would be possible in the background without needing to me to wait there and the things need to be finished. Like my exporting my video on Luma Fusion, I don't need to sit there and wait for the export timeline to finish it off. I can just swipe up the screen on my iPad and in the background the export, it would be exporting like normally how we would see in the laptops. And same goes for file transfer across devices or anything. That's something I personally with files have I love, and I feel this was much more needed improvement if you ask me. But yeah, overall with iOS 26 something, the overall UI element changes, the upgrades this year are much more what do you say, refined, much more enhanced or much more. I feel this is the only update where I feel things have been more centralized into personal use of on a day-to-day life than rather just being one gimmicky feature or something that we might use initially but later we will not use it. And the best example of this is Apple Intelligence if you ask me. It's nowhere near to the current stage of what we all can expect from Apple with AI. But if there's something with Apple Intelligence I personally love is the writing tools and what do you say, visual intelligence. These are the only two Apple AI features I personally prefer or like apart from anything else. But yeah, we could see what Apple would be coming up with Apple Intelligence in the coming years or so. But I really don't like to keep my high hopes with Apple Intelligence. And as for iOS 16, it's such a great update I would say this year. But yes, as for the liquid glass is something I have to get myself into personally to see if I personally like it or no in my day-to-day usage. For that you need to subscribe to this video because there are a lot more videos coming up. And yeah, do let me know what you think about iOS 16 if you have used it. Do let me know how the beta updates have been for you personally. It be the public beta or the developer beta, how the things have overall been for you with iOS 26. And let me know if you wish to see anything from my side covering the Apple news or the Apple ecosystem, whatever, or any other video you want to see me doing. Just comment and like and subscribe to this channel. Till then, this is your PoeticWhiz. Do like, comment and subscribe to this channel. Live your dream.